Hi everyone, it's Todd Milewski from the State Journal at the Kohl Center. Late night after a 6-2 Badgers loss to Michigan on Saturday, January 29th. The Michigan comes away with a sweep out of the series. Badgers have lost 4 in a row and have not really been in any of those games by the end of them. Haven't managed to keep any of them close, which I think is a sign of things starting to slip away here this season, and time is running out to pull it back in. I mean, the Badgers are 9 games under 500, so I don't think you have to have. I don't think there's a whole lot of optimism left there for pulling something big out of this season. But man, it has spiraled over the last 2 weeks. Give Michigan credit. Missing 2 of their key players, Owen Power and Kent Johnson, again, who are in Switzerland with Canada's Olympic team in training camp. They have the depth to to get past that. Now we'll see whether in the next couple of weeks, whether when they lose Matty Beniers and Brendan Brisson to the U.S. Olympic team, and whether that is a little bit bigger of a hurdle for Michigan to get over. But this weekend they got depth. They got scoring from a bunch of different sources. Ethan Edwards scored tonight, first goal for Michigan. That was his second of the season. Philippe Lapointe, his first of the season. He went in when Luke Morgan came out, went into the top line with Michael Pastujov and Beniers. So there's pieces there that for Michigan just go in well wherever they're needed. Last night I was talking about how the Badgers needed to make it more difficult on Michigan to do what they did, and the Badgers did. But in the end, I think you just see how big the gap is between Michigan and Wisconsin, and that coming on a weekend where there were scheduled to be more than 50 program former players from the program here in attendance tonight, with the biggest crowd of the season, biggest announced attendance, 12,231. Those are not positive signs for the program. I don't think that's just my opinion. I don't think it's a too big of a stretch, however, to say that. And there's a lot of questions out there about coming off of last season where the Badgers won the Big Ten. Is this the blip? Or was that season the blip? There's more evidence to say that last season was the outlier compared to what's now going to be 4 losing seasons out of 5 for the Badgers. And I think that is starting to come into focus now. And you can say all you want about how the Badgers were better tonight than they were last night. Not a high bar to cross. Let's put that out there. True. But to be this far away from a team that can contend for really even just a upper half spot in the Big Ten tells you that this year's team just, I don't think, it's pretty obvious, doesn't have the talent to match up with teams as talented as Michigan. And the Badgers won 1 game against Michigan out of 4 this season. That was back in October in Ann Arbor, and they had to play a pretty much a perfect game to do it. They were good around their net, around the Michigan net. Got a solid and pretty solid defensive performance as I remember it. And the defense has really just been a struggle for them in the last 2 weeks. I need to pull this up to make sure I'm getting the numbers right. They've now scored 22-6 in their 4-game losing streak. They've allowed 5 goals or more in 3 consecutive games for the first time since the 2015-16 season, which was Mike Eaves' last. 9 games under 500 for the first time since late in that same season. So that it's all piling up on Wisconsin now, and it looked like, and maybe we're just deceived by some of the opponents, but when the Badgers came back from the break and looked like a better team, I think there was some things to build on there, but they're just, you get in some better opponents, tougher buildings, as in the case last week at Penn State, and it just hasn't been there for the Badgers. Cameron Rowe got the start tonight in goal, first time in 12 games. Badgers haven't started Jared Moe. Moe got pulled from his last 3 starts, and Tony Granado said he thought that Rowe earned the chance to start tonight with the way he played last night. I think maybe it's more of just that they need to shake something up to try and get something different out of the team. And if you go back and look at the 5th goal Michigan scored tonight, boy, that was a full team effort in allowing Luke Hughes to be alone in front of the net. Mackie Samoskevich dished him the puck after basically the entire Badgers team was pushed over along the wall. Not all in the zone. It was a zone entry, so some of the players were still trailing the play, but everyone was away and let Hughes basically go free to the front of the net where he scored to make it 5-2, and that was a little bit of the symbol of how things have gone lately for the defense. Rowe said he should have had that one, and that doesn't absolve the players in front, the rest of the skaters for the blame they share on that play, and really they've made things a lot more difficult for the goalies in these last couple of weeks, and we've seen the results here. I'll get to a couple of questions here. Brian, I think I kind of just touched on some of your question, how much of the poor defense plays on the goalie rather than the defenseman and vice versa. Sharing the blame, obviously. I don't think Jared Moe, I knew I was going to do that. Jared Moe would say he's been great over these last couple of weeks. I don't think you'd get that same answer out of Cam Rowe tonight, but they need the players in front of them to do better and preventing some of these really good chances opponents have been getting. Joe asks, I didn't see Baker in the 3rd. Any word on that? No, he was out for the 3rd for sure, and possibly the 2nd. I have to go back and look and see if I had him out there at all in the 2nd, but he was injured last night. It looked like his arm got twisted back underneath him, and he came back in. He tried to. Tony Granado said he tried to gut it out tonight, and it sounded like after the first period they had to sit him out. And the Badgers were already without Daniel Latch, the defenseman, didn't play tonight after he was injured last night. Luke Lemaster went in, and they shuffled around D pairs, but there was I don't know that those specifically added up to a loss tonight. Yeah, you can probably say they contributed, but let's face it, Michigan's that good of a team, even without some of their best players. So that's only part of it tonight, I would say. Coming up for the Badgers, they are on the road next week at Ohio State, another team that's challenging for first place, and it's not going to be any easier, obviously, the rest of the way for the Badgers. At Ohio State, back home for Notre Dame, then a week off, then finish the regular season at Michigan, then basically it's not numerically solid right now yet, but going on the road for the first round of the Big Ten playoffs, and mind you, they're 1-9 on the road this season. So that is going to wrap it up tonight. Thanks for joining me. Make sure you check out madison.com, and we will be back in a couple weeks after here anyway, on video after the Notre Dame games here back home at the Kohl Center. Have a good night, everyone.